Good evening, Metal Faithful. It is your Mandata reporter, and frankly, I'm mortified, Mr. Mark Radulich, and this is the Metal Hammer of Doom. Ladies and gentlemen, a few years ago, I believe it was 2018, we reviewed an album by the band we're going to review tonight. It was Amorphis, Queen of Time, and we were a bunch of silly gooses on that show. Yes, indeed. We were a bunch of nutty silly gooses, and we halfway paid attention to the album and mostly made a lot of silly jokes and annoyed a lot of people. We actually got comments on that show how much people were irritated by our tomfoolery. So I'm going to bring on the disapproving dad, Mr. Essential, big time, Jesse Starcher, to keep me and Robert Cooper, the Metal Coop, in line tonight so that we don't piss people off and actually focus on the album. It's serious business, Jesse Starcher, don't you understand?
Serious business, and business is about to pick up, ladies and gentlemen. That's right. It's about to be a slobber knocker. Oh, wait a second. Hold on. Sorry. I turned into JR there for a second.
Never mind.
Off to a great start. I'm setting a great example. Yes, I'm ready. I'm ready to rock and roll. We're going to be talking about Amorphis, one of the surprising bands for me. I know they've been around for a while, but this is like one of the most surprising bands that I had the chance to listen to in the past. I think it was 2015's. Oh my goodness, Red something.
Under the Red
I can't
Cloud.
remember it. Thank you very much. Under the Red Cloud, which I think Coop may have actually pointed me towards at one point. I don't think you guys covered it, but
that
we
was
were talking
2015,
back then.
and we were doing the show back then, but we didn't do that album. The first one we did was Queen of Time from 2018, and as I said, for whatever reason, we could not focus on the album, and nonsense occurred.
The podcast,
which
the
is
podcast
totally
went down
against our nature, mind you.
Yes,
right.
Very out of
Right.
character, especially for me and Coop.
It's been what, 4 years? Have we learned our lesson? Let's find out.
So tonight we're going to be talking Halo, Robert Cooper, which came out February 11th, 2022. And listening to this album, I don't remember Queen of Time, to be honest with you, and I don't think I listened to Under the Red Cloud. Do they normally, Robert Cooper, do they normally have like a Middle Eastern sound to them, Amorphis?
Not typically, no. Typically they still do have plenty of your sort of progressive elements to their death metal, but not oftentimes do you find as many of the more Middle Eastern influence or the as many of the symphonic elements that I found in some of this album.
What's that Middle Eastern band that they remind me of that we covered?
Orphaned Land, one of my favorite bands ever.
That's the one. The very same. Reminded me a lot of that Orphaned Land album that we did a few years ago.
With less Steve Hackett.
Or Buddy Hackett, for that matter.
Yeah. I don't know, but who's Buddy Hackett?
Well, I tell you what, if he was in this band, you would know. That's for sure.
Buddy Hackett's an old comedian, very very funny comedian. He had kind of a doughy, boyish face, but he was quite a potty mouth. That one, quite a dirty comic. He worked Blue, if you know what I mean.
Have you seen Scrooged
with Bill Murray?
Have you seen with Bill Murray?
Okay. Yeah, I'm an American.
Well, I know you have, but I don't know if Coop had. Buddy Hackett is in that movie.
Oh.
He plays Scrooge in that movie, like the not Bill Murray, but the guy that's playing Scrooge in the show that Bill Murray is producing. I'm pretty sure that's Buddy Hackett. I'll look that up and confirm, but you don't remember that, Mark Radulich, or do you?
I mean, I remember Scrooge, but it's been a long time since you looked at me. So I have not seen... I have not seen Scrooge in a very long time, so he might well be in the movie, but I don't remember. All right, anyway.
I'll send pics.
Jesse, what do you remember of Queen of Time?
Really, really enjoyed it because I had heard Under Red Cloud. I put that all together because I couldn't remember the name of the title. I was anticipating that album and was hoping that it would be a follow-up smash because that previous album was unbelievable. Top to bottom, I loved it. And then when we got to Queen of Time, I wasn't disappointed. There were a lot of great songs on that album that really stood out, and it made me realize how good a band that Amorphis is. And they've been around for a while. They said 30 years.
Yep, 1992 they released the Karelian Isthmus.
Okay. I think Tomi I assume it's Tommy. It might be Tomi. I have no idea.
Tomi.
It's Tomi.
Okay, Tomi. So Tomi shows up in 2000. They say was it 2006? I believe is when they said he showed up, and their sound basically has sounded like this for quite a while, and every album they have put out has been pretty consistent. I came on under the Red Cloud, and I was absolutely blown away. Queen of Time, fantastic album. I was just chomping at the bit to get to Halo to see if they could just keep up the pace.
So they are a Finnish heavy metal band. As we said, they started out in 1992 with their first album on Relapse Records. As I said before, the Karelian Isthmus. They've had several gold records. Far from the Sun from 2003. Gold in Finland, I should say. Eclipse from 2006 was gold. Silent Waters from 2007. Skyforger from 2009. And these look, except for Far from the Sun, these were all on Nuclear Blast. They started off on Relapse, known for their death metal. Did one album with Virgin, EMI, and then they switched over to Nuclear Blast up until this most recent album, Atomic Fire, which was the label that released this. A couple more gold albums that they did was Circle, which came out in 2013, and then, Queen of Time went gold as well. So we'll see how well this one does. This is currently, as of this writing, number one on the Finnish heavy metal charts. It debuted at number 3 in Germany, 57 in Japan. It did not chart in Australia as of yet. 4th in Switzerland, and then 42 in Sweden. I don't know if you know this or not.
In Sweden.
God damn it!
Oh, here we go. Here we go.
I was setting up that joke, Cooper.
Well, you did a fine job.
I said, I'm just not looking at your picture.
He just wouldn't let you finish. Finish.
Hey!
Nobody ever does. I know.
You just had to let me sweeten the deal.
Oh, goodness gracious.
Man, I came to this podcast expecting a movie review, and all I got was horrible puns.
Oh, God, is that Buddy Hackett?
That is Buddy Hackett.
That is Buddy Hackett, as opposed to his twin brother, Buddy Wackett.
I was looking at Gosh Smack, and I was like, wait a minute, which one's which?
All right, let's get into it. We're going to play the first 3 songs here off of Halo. And they are as follows.
Uh-oh.
Northwards, On the Dark Waters, and The Moon. So I'm just looking at the plays on Amazon Music Unlimited, and wink, and
like, really? Are you really?
the play counter on Amazon Music Unlimited, a truly wonderful service that we'll tell you about more later.
That's right.
The Moon has the most plays on this entire album. Everything else, these first three actually have the most. Everything else is less than 200,000, but The Moon has over 1 million.
Yeah, it got released as a single last year.
Okay.
Yeah,
That makes sense.
So, yeah, it's been played quite a bit. It's funny you mentioned that because I've been kind of paying attention to some albums that I see, and it's always a precipitous drop as you go down through an album. Like, they start out always that first track. Somebody listens to those first few tracks, and they get to about track 8, and you notice the play count continues to get lower and lower and lower. That's just because people don't finish albums like they're supposed to.
The last two tracks on here, The Wolf and Hello, My Name is Darth Vader, are both less than 130,000, and almost every single one of these is north of 140.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, what'd you think, Mark?
I really like The Moon. I like the transition from in the vocals from the harsh, growly vocals to the clean. I think the singer has a very pretty voice when he sings clean. I prefer European style death metal to American style death metal because American style death metal is primarily concerned with speed. And it's very drum focused, but the drum isn't necessarily rhythmic so much as it is pummeling. And it's not that I don't like it. From what I've been told, the new Corpse Grinder album is actually really, really good. But I haven't gotten a chance to listen to it. And if it's anything like the rest of American death metal out there, I'm sure I'll like it just fine. But it doesn't sound as pleasing to the ears as the European style, which tends to be more musician focused. There tends to be a greater sense of songcraft in there, and the only thing that sort of even tangentially relates it to death metal is the growling of the vocals, which again go off and on transition between that and clean, oscillate, I should say, between that and clean. So I really like it. I'm finding, and I learned this with that one Sting song from a few years ago, that I kind of like when you add some Middle Eastern elements into your big rock sound. I don't want it to be overwhelming. I want it to be a spice. I don't want it to be the main flavor. You know what I mean, Jesse?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So speaking of clean and harsh vocals, we've talked about this in the past. That checks a box for me a lot of times when it comes to bands that I really enjoy listening to. If they can pull off a clean and harsh vocal that sounds decent, then by all means, it usually works its way to the top of my list. I will tell you, Tomi is a fantastic vocalist. To be able to do both of those in one song, it's pretty amazing, and he does a great job. He's a great singer. And when you listen to the harsh versus the clean, I mean, it's worlds apart. And to think that that's coming out of one person is pretty crazy. Mm-hmm. But I like the Middle Eastern vibe of it. I remember picking those vibes up on the previous two albums. And by the way, I don't know if you mentioned this or not, but this is the third in a trilogy. Mm-hmm. So this is finishing out what those previous two had put out there. Now, as to what the narrative is, from what I saw, it's based on Finnish poetry. And if you look at the lyrics as we go through this album, and on just about, we'll just say the other two, it is complex. It is great songwriting. It does not get repetitive. Out of those three we just listened to, I really enjoyed On the Dark Waters, and The Moon's up there as well. They're not my favorite off this album, but those two stood out of the three that we listened to. So,
I 100%
Coop, what do you think, man?
I 100% agree with you. By the way, those two of the three, those two are the strongest. Yeah, go ahead, Coop. Jump in there.
Coop.
Still says he's in the Spreaker call.
Robert Cooper?
Tommy, can you hear me?
If he... I really hope he's
Jesse,
not.
I think what Robert Cooper needs in this world to help him gather his thoughts and organize them. Do you know what I think he needs?
Tell me.
I think he needs Grammarly.
Ooh, wow.
Grammarly's AI-powered products help people communicate more effectively. Grammarly helps you write mistake-free on Gmail, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and nearly anywhere else you write on the web. Grammarly corrects hundreds of grammar, punctuation, spelling mistakes while also catching contextual errors, improving your vocabulary, and suggesting style improvements. To download Grammarly today, go to getgrammarly.com/W2Mnetwork. Again, that's getgrammarly.com/W2Mnetwork to download Grammarly for free. Well, he's communicating with us in the chat. Oh, okay. Well then, there seems to be some sort of stalker around
There's got to be a mouse.
Robert Cooper's domain. So his girlfriend let us know that he grabbed a bat. He said, "Evil must die tonight," and he's going to check it out. So let's go ahead and continue on here with the next three songs, and then maybe by then, Evil will have been properly pummeled with a bat, and we can
Vanquished.
move on. Vanquished, yes. I mean, we can move on with the show. So next up, out of here. Next up, we've got more songs for you. No, we've got Windmane, A New Land, and When the Gods Came. Robert Cooper is back from letting evil know that it must die tonight. What did you think of these first 6 songs that we've heard so far?
I greatly enjoyed them. I really do feel that the sound on this album is a little more, I guess I could say, perhaps diverse than their previous album. Not to say that their music isn't already quite interesting. But what I've been noticing is a lot more symphonic passages. There's even some use of keyboards that kind of remind me of some classic Opeth, which I was very surprised at and very happy with, because I miss Opeth before it became Mike Ackerfeld's 1970s prog rock tribute band is what it essentially is at this point. I love Tomi's voice. The cleans, the growls, like they're all very well done, very distinct to the band, and the guitar work on this also is something I can say is quite distinct for the band as well. I mean, you can't mistake this for anything other than Amorphis, and I really like that.
They are definitely very, very distinctive, which is helpful. Jesse, what do you think?
Wow, man, that When the Gods Came, that's what I wanted this whole album to be honest. I mean, it's not saying that this album is bad, but When the Gods Came is probably the apex of this album for me. It is a fantastic song. I remember listening to Under the Red Cloud and getting a lot more songs like that. Now, that doesn't mean that what they're doing here is a failure, because again, this is a trilogy of albums. There's a narrative that they're going through each one of these, and this album just may not need the same energy as those previous albums did. But I will tell you that When the Gods Came is like my absolute favorite off this song. And really, if we could have had more songs that sounded like that off of here, it seemed to be the most intense, at least, off this album so far. And it's a very, very competent album. Competent lyrics, competent sound to it. I mean, just if you listen to what you're getting here and start to pick out all of what they're doing, it is nothing short of amazing at how they are putting all of this together, so it creates that distinct sound that you guys are talking about, because they do have a very distinct sound. And you could probably pick Amorphis out real easy in a lineup of metal bands. It's going to be pretty simple. And I will say that Tomi he guested on another song or another album recently, and I swear it was with a female singer. But anyway, he's got one of those voices too. Like, you're like, I know I've heard this somewhere. And of course, I was able to be like, I know this is Amorphis lead singer. Who is? I want to make sure, and sure enough, confirmed. But anyway, yeah, I've enjoyed myself so far. It's been a good time. When the Gods Came is definitely my favorite off this album. We'll see how we do with the rest here.
It's a very layered album. Every track has a lot of layers to it. It's got a lot of dimensions, which I like. These recordings, at least to me, Robert, feel very complex. There's a lot of different moving parts to them, and I think you might be dismissive of this if you don't have a good ear for music. Oh, it just sounds like death metal. But if you really if you can get past the vocals, you can definitely hear a lot of different. Like, you can tell they spent some time in the studio creating separate tracks for the different instruments and. Trying out different sounds, and it all comes together very cohesively.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely agree. It's kind of reminds me of a good sandwich. Every bite you take, it's going to be something a little different that's going to keep you wanting more.
Mm-hmm. It's one of the better albums that we've heard this year, just in terms of sheer instrumentation. And I'm finding, Jesse, I don't know if you agree with this or not, but this is one of the harder albums for me to review, because it's a little bit easier, I think, when when it's goofy or when it sucks.
Oh, really?
Because
Yeah.
then we can spend the hour just complaining about things and ripping it apart and really criticizing it. This album feels like, when I do Oscar bait with Alexis or Robert or somebody, and it's like, there's a reason why these things get nominated for Best Picture. They're not that they are criticism resistant. You can certainly talk about the different elements of them, and someone better educated in music can do a better job of this than I can. But I always also find those are the hardest movies for me to review because there's not a whole lot wrong with them. And I can only say this is good so many times, I guess is my point. And that's where I'm at with this Amorphis album, where I love the complexity, I love the richness, I love the depth. And how many more times does anyone need to hear me say that?
So, well, I mean, I was thinking about this just a few minutes ago. Lyrically, what are we going to be able to pick apart a little bit better, or at least have a little bit more fun with it? Finnish poetry or Uncle Al and his musings?
Well,
and his
I know
lyrics.
when I went to college to study Finnish poetry, we really dug in deep.
We're not going to have much to say about what's going on. The story that's being told sounds beautiful.
Yeah.
I did not go into it and look at everything. I can tell that there's definite elements of a story being told, but it's also it's done so well. It's hard to really criticize something that sounds good, and we really, as far as lyrics go, we're not going to have much of an opinion on. It's a story. That's
sure.
about all there is to it. So it isn't that we obviously have said this over and over. That's not a failure of the album. It's kind of hard to criticize something like this when it's done
it's
well.
our failure as reviewers.
Sure. I mean, Coop, what'd you play? You played the trombone? Is that what it was?
No, it was I played
Skin
the
flute.
trumpet and I played the tuba.
Okay, all right. So you're probably the most musically inclined here of the three of us, and we're not.
I played the trombone.
we're not
Don't I count? Back in elementary
How
school
rusty
for like
was
1
it?
year.
Yeah. Okay.
And I took some bass lessons. Does that count for anything, Jesse?
It does. It does.
Okay, thanks.
Absolutely does.
Very needy. I
You
need
can
attention.
start your own podcast. Oh, we already did.
I need validation. All right. Well, I'll tell you, Robert Cooper, as we're listening to this, and you're like, hey, I'm really enjoying this Amorphis album. I want to hear more of their catalog. But I don't want to create an entire financial investment in all of this. I just want to give it a shot, see if it tickles my sack a little. Do you know where you can get your sack tickled?
Well, you see, there was this place in Winston called Girls, Girls, Girls. And the only reason I know about it is because I went to the independent movie theater, the Aperture Cinema in Winston-Salem, which is fantastic to go watch anime movies. And would you believe I got lost? The only place that I could use as a landmark was Girls, Girls, Girls. And unfortunately, it shut down after somebody got stabbed.
I believe there's a Girls, Girls, Girls in every major metropolitan area, and I believe at least one person gets stabbed there.
Well, that's good. I just hope they're getting paid well.
They are. And the answer to my question, did I tell you Robert Winfrey yelled at me last night for that?
What?
Did he now? Good.
Yeah. So we were talking about the Northman that's coming out soon, and we both mentioned that Alexander Skarsgård is a pretty man, and even Robert was just like, my God, the abs on that guy. And I went, and I did what I would normally do in that situation. I went, arrgh. And and Robert's like, I'm not that way. Will you cut that out? And I'm like, dude. First of all, I do that shit to everything all the time, everywhere.
I love it.
Not to mention, I'm not that way either, but have you seen the abs on Alexander Skarsgård?
Exactly. Whatevs, man.
It might be enough.
I told him relax and stop being so sensitive, and then I purred at him some more.
Ooh. You know how to make a girl feel special. But anywho, I was
that's
told
what my wife
there's
says.
Well, that's good. I'm very happy that you found good couples activities to do, like some jazzercise, some aerobics, some Billy Blanks, Tybo.
Yep.
And I think you also could use your free subscription to Amazon Music to get 1 month free so that you can listen to anything you want to while you're doing your workouts, whether it be Amorphis, whether it be Sabaton, whether it be, I don't know, some Enya. Everybody loves some Enya.
I would have a hard time working out to Enya while I was listening to Amazon Music Unlimited.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, that's fortunate, because if you're listening to something and you find you really don't like it, well, fortunately, you have the option to listen to an unlimited library of music for 1 month absolutely free by using our code. What was the code again, Mark?
The code, Robert Cooper, is red. Long live the code. It's also...
I love that album.
It's so good, right? Dude,
Totally is.
Napalm Death is the fucking shit, dude.
Boy, howdy are they.
Yes, sir. And if you would like to listen to Napalm Death and just discover how much they are, in fact, the shit, get AmazonMusic.com/W2M Network. That is the code. The code is red. Long live the code, Robert Cooper.
Can you tell that I sell things for a living?
You did that really. You were smooth like butter, man. I didn't want to stop you. I'm just like, maybe I won't do the ad reads anymore because everybody else likes to do them for me anyway. They like to set me up, or they just like to do, like Robert Winfrey now just fucking just goes into an ad read on me, and I'm like, let me write it down. I feel like that one TikTok. Like, could you at least say please before you treat me like a common whore? I'm gonna do it, but damn.
Just remember, kids, the safe word is g.
The safe word is ah.
Oh boy, that sounds like a little knife play gone wrong.
Jesse, put your earmuffs on.
Oh no,
Jesse,
Wait a minute.
Jesse, put your earmuffs
we're
on.
going to hear we're going to hear about TikTok. No, wait a second, Snapchat. Sorry,
We're going to hear about Dick Talk.
You're going to hear Robert Cooper. You're going to hear about some dick talk. So my wife and I were doing vascular activities.
oh jeez.
That's good. That's how a man stays young.
We were exercising. We were working on our health, and I started doing an intense hip workout, and she was doing vocal exercises, and she made a sound that sounded like oh, and so I stopped because I wanted to make sure that her heart was okay. I wanted to make sure that she wasn't having heart problems. Don't you understand, Robert Cooper? When she made the sound, and she seemed okay. So I went back to doing my intense pelvic workout, and she went back to doing her mouth exercises and her vascular mouth exercises. I told you to put your earmuffs on, sir.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. You have to create a certain amount of challenge, because once you've reached a certain amount, you're gonna have to.
Yeah, it's like weights.
You're gonna have to increase the challenge. It's like wearing ankle weights, except she's partially obstructing her airway to get an even better flow.
Yeah. So the second time it happened, I stopped again, and I was like, hey, I want to make sure that your heart is in decent shape here, and that you're not, you're not feeling dizzy. Every time I do that, I'm rolling my eyes, and like, there's no fucking camera to see me do it. Ooh. So, anyway, with this tortured fucking story that I'm telling, so the second time she made that sound, Robert. And I stopped, and she stopped, and then she looks at me, and she's like, "Why'd you stop?" And I'm like, "'Cause you sound like you're choking." And she's like, "Nah, I'm good, G." I'm like, all right." But yes, the safe word is just in case anyone missed it.
I guess you're gonna have to change it.
Yeah. You can take your earmuffs off now, Jesse.
But I don't want
to. Ooh. Oh, our boy's growing up.
Oh. All right.
Oh my gosh!
I got through about half the podcast before it went off the rail straight into the ditch. I'm proud of us. I'm proud of you, Jesse, and I'm proud of you.
You've done a great job. We had a fantastic outline. We had a fantastic read for Amazon Music.
Yeah.
While also managing to try to skirt the fact that you like to go up skirts. It's not a bad time.
Listen, normally it's within 2 minutes that this podcast gets into Sexy Town. But we waited a good 40 minutes before we got there this time. So, and you, Robert Cooper of the Screaming Boy podcast, haven't even talked about your.
I don't think that's him.
isn't that Ronnie Adams?
that is my new gimmick of the week. I have ascribed everybody their own podcast, and everybody is a host of the Screaming Boy podcast.
I like that. That's great.
I mostly do it to annoy Ronnie.
Okay. Well, that's
it
good.
amuses
That's
me.
good. As long as you have a goal in mind.
He was listening the other night when Melissa and I were talking about the 50 Shades movies, and I was like, "What do you think, Melissa Radulich of the Screaming Boy podcast?" And he's like in the chat going, "Hey, that's my thing," and I'm like, "Yeah, I've decided it's everybody's thing now. Everyone's getting a turn with it."
Oh, it's funny.
That's right. Hey, Jesse, want to hear some more music?
I bet me and about 3 other people listening to this podcast would like to do the same.
Well, for
The
all
funny
you
thing is, 33% of that audience is listening with me. So
just ask Natalia if she enjoys the stories of my vascular workouts.
Oh my god,
she does. She does. She's got the other earphone in.
Do not encourage him.
What? Don't encourage him?
Yeah, Jesse's tired of the
It's
bullshit.
kind of hard to. It sounds like his wife does it for us.
Hi-yo! She's very encouraging. She stands behind me, but more importantly, I stand behind her and back her up as often as possible. I want you to know that, Robert Cooper.
That is great. As long as you're able to get the clogs undone after you back her up.
All right.
I'm just saying that
What other things would I rather be doing right now?
Listening to your wife.
Probably plucking my nut hair.
You say replucking your nut hair or unplucking it?
Plucking.
Oh, well, at least,
I don't know
at least
what
you know
you're
how to practice safe.
I don't know what you're so sensitive
safe
about.
testicle cleaning.
I have said nothing sexual for the last 20 minutes. Nothing.
You're right. You're so right. It is me overreacting here.
Yeah, I mean, if anything, I think it just might be. I think there just might be a little imprintation there. Maybe.
I think a little projection, if you ask me, Robert Cooper.
I listened up to minute 40, guys, and I tried, but then
it all changed when the Fire Nation attacked. I got you.
All right, for all you serious Amorphis fans who came to listen to a serious review of Amorphis, let's go ahead and listen to some more music, and then when we come back. Jesse, who was supposed to keep us on track tonight, he was supposed to make us behave for all you serious Amorphis fans who listen to serious Amorphis fan reviews, will tell us what the angry metal guy thinks. I bet he's serious. I'm going to tell you this, Jesse, and you can tell the angry metal guy this for me. I bet he doesn't commit himself to health and body awareness through vascular workouts like I do.
Right.
Tell him that for me in those
words. I'll tweet that right at him.
Tweet him. Tweet him with your Twitter.
Please play a song.
All right, folks. Next, we got Seven Roads Come Together, War and Halo. Jesse Starcher, in my defense, two things. One, Ozzy snorted a line of ants.
Okay.
Two, in my defense,
Yeah.
and I feel that I am innocent of all of your vicious charges against me.
Okay.
No, that whole last 10-minute bit that we just did is not my fault. It's Robert Cooper's. You can't blame me. You cannot blame me for what was said in the last 10 to 20 minutes.
All right. Sure. Let the record show. Mark Radulich has an opinion on who should be blamed here.
Yes, and I'll tell you why. Because it's Robert Cooper who... we were just doing an innocent ad read for Amazon Music Unlimited where you can listen to this, and it was devoid of any kind of...
all I'm doing is repeating what you said.
Okay.
For emphasis.
It was devoid of any kind of negative or ulterior or incendiary commentary. We were just doing an ad read. But then Robert Cooper, who has to make everything dirty, said the safe word is and that's his fault. That made me go into a tangent about a story related to that particular sound effect. So it's all Robert Cooper's fault. So your discomfort is because of Robert Cooper, not me.
No, I was not comfortable as soon as we started the show. So
it's that bad, huh?
Sounds like you need a new chair.
yeah.
Hey, speaking of making Jesse uncomfortable, Robert Cooper, did you know that there's a massage device that's app operated? Did you know that?
I did not.
You can buy a massage.
Is this on Amazon?
I believe so. Yeah, look it up real quick while I'm talking to Robert Cooper. Yeah, you can buy a massager, a body massager that then you can download the app for it. Maybe somebody else can download the app for it and link it to the massager, and they can control the massager from their cell phone. Did you know that?
I did not. Did you know they also make ovens that you can control?
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, so while you're on a podcast, you can bake a pie just from an app on your phone?
Start the oven.
Okay.
Yeah, you could start the oven, while you are giving a massage remotely.
Right.
You can also...
You can start two ovens.
You can.
Did you know... So,
get your motor running.
Yeah, Jesse, you could be down in your basement on this podcast. The very same.
Right.
And you could have an app on your phone that starts a massager elsewhere in the house. Did you know that?
Amazing.
Yeah. What a world we live in 2022 in the year of our Lord.
Oh, boy.
Did you find it on Amazon.com?
I'm not looking for that, Mark. I really do think that I should probably focus on the podcast, to be honest. Maybe you guys could too.
I'm always focused.
I feel like I've been
Kid
challenged.
in a staring contest.
Jesse, what does the angry metal guy think of all of our silliness?
Oh, well, yeah, I'd love to see him review our podcast, see what he has to say. You talk about angry.
Nothing
Didn't he
good,
already
I'm sure.
say, no, I don't want to work with you people?
No, he just flat out ignored us.
Yeah, that's fine.
Not worth his time.
Well, I will tell you, just real quick, to kind of give you a heads up on what other reviewers say, and then we'll finish it out with the angry metal guy. But soundmagnet.eu gives us an 8.5 out of 10. Sputnik Music has a score of 3.7 out of 5. Sonic Perspectives gives us an 8.9 out of 10. And listen to this. Distorted Sound Mag gave it a 10 out of 10. So this is probably one of the highest rated albums that we've had a chance to talk about this year so far. Angry Metal Guy, I'll just read. He gave it a 4 out of 5, but I'll kind of read the finishing thoughts here, which do point out a lot of good things. Mm-hmm. He says, I sometimes have struggled to appreciate the band's new albums in the moment, which I can identify with that. This has to do with the band's craftsman-like consistency. Rather than having a few songs that truly stand out and then occasionally producing an album where everything is of that same excellent quality, Amorphis drops albums of impressive quality with regularity. Halo is yet another impressive album for one of the heavy metal's premier acts, where this album is in the pantheon of Amorphis records will take time to tell, but I worry that I once again am not even truly appreciating the brilliance right before my eyes. So, Angry Metal Guy, by the way, did this review. Normally they'll review or have a reviewer on there that's not the Angry Metal Guy, the original, the OG, if you will. And that's not the case. Angry Metal Guy is a big fan of Amorphis from what I was reading, and he really enjoyed this album. I think he does have a good point in regards to it being one that's it may be a grower and not a shower. Grower,
Hardly knew her.
hardly knew her.
I'm going to ask that you take the podcast seriously, Jesse, and not make sex jokes.
Oh, really? You of all people.
I haven't done anything like that. I've been talking about health and look at the chat and
So much.
I thought that was spam at first.
it is. It's just spam that I sent.
Oh, good. It's
I
friendly.
just
It's spam from a known quantity rather than an unknown one.
Just toss that ham in the frying pan like spam. Jesse, we interrupted you after you made a dirty sex joke, so please continue.
I'm pretty much done. I just want as a grower, it may be a grower, not a shower, but I will say that there's not a whole lot on this album that requires showing, to be honest, because all of it is really, really, really good.
It is, despite my distracting nonsense. That's as I said before, that's part of why I was like, all right, it's time to get with the silly now. I have said all there is to say. This is a great album.
Right.
Coop, anything about these last 3 songs that we listened to?
I mean, grower, not a shower. What more is there to say?
Stop obsessing over Jesse's dirty sex joke.
It's one of those. It just comes naturally.
That is a weird. That is a weird shape for a massager, by the way.
Is it? Hold on, I gotta look at that.
You don't spend enough time on Chatterbait.
I am absolutely 100% joking.
Let's see, what is that?
I know what that is, sir.
Oh, huh?
Yeah.
That that actually kind of looks like a very nice pair of headphones you can actually wear.
You
just glue 2 of them together and see what happens.
You can absolutely put them between your ears just to see what happens, and then let somebody else control it with the app.
It would be an absolutely great time. Fortunately, it would be one that wouldn't even have to grow on you. It would straight up show on you. Just like this wonderful Amorphis album.
Yes. I frankly think that this Amorphis album should show all over you, from head to toe. It should smear itself all over you.
We think technology will take us into greater areas of exploration, but here we have this device, which is just another excuse to have your phone in your hand while you're doing something else,
or the phone in somebody else's hand doing something to you.
What is very useful when you have a device in your hand and you're constantly texting people, messaging, and you want to actually do a very respectable job of impressing them with your linguistic squills. Grammarly.
Grammarly from the Valentine's Day extravaganza.
Well, you can kill the wabbit too.
Poor little buddy.
Grammarly.com. We actually have a sponsorship with them to where you can get
I've already done this ad read.
It's a free 30 days, you guys, you see. We got it. We have to let the people know.
About the Grammarly?
About the Grammarly.
Oh, man.
We have 2 songs left, and Jesse has just about had enough of me and you. More you than me, since you started all this, Cooper, with your gagging jokes.
Tell Jason Teasley to message you immediately.
Why would you do that to me?
He's on a podcast right now. Get him out of here.
I got asked to do a different podcast tonight, actually. I got like just after we started, I guess somebody dropped out of Jeff's review of Boba Fett episode 6. And he was like, "Hey, you want to jump on?" And I'm like, "No, I want to make Jesse regret his life decisions." So,
success.
Hey, what do you say we play the last 2 songs and get the fuck out of here?
I like
a tree and leaf.
That's right. Alrighty, folks, we got 2 more songs left, as I said, and those, where are my? There we go. And those songs are as follows: The Wolf and My Name Is Night, featuring Petronella Nettermom. I'm going to go ahead and give this album a solid A. It's excellent. For all the serious Amorphis fans who seriously listen to Amorphis while getting serious reviews for their serious Amorphis album, I mean, to you people, I get why you like this band so much and you want us to take it so seriously. I'm with you 100%. And I think it's great. You know, I think the difficulty that I have, like I said, is so much of what stands out to me tends to be a lot of like silly and very distinctive. But sometimes you just got to listen to a good old-fashioned solid metal album, and this is the best. You know, we're only in February here, but it's it's one of the best ones I've heard so far. What do you think, Jesse?
Yeah, I'll have to agree. An A is a great grade for this album. I will tell you that I am excited to listen to all 3 of the this trilogy, and just to let it again grow on me. That's right. See how it compares with Queen of Time and Under the Red Cloud.
Are you thinking that it's going to grow, and when it's when it's fully
Erect?
when it I don't want to really go at the metaphor like a fucking animal. I'm trying to be classy.
Why
here.
stop now? I mean, why? Why even
Haven't even said the
attempt
safe
to
word yet.
reserve some type of class?
When
There's
this
no reason to even try.
All right. There's no reason to get excited, Robert. When the album is fully engorged, will you compare it to others of its size and girth?
Oh, I imagine so. I imagine so. And
Jesse Starcher,
I imagine the
can
girth
you-
will land this. Probably it's solid in the top 5 of this year. I bet.
Of the albums that you've listened to this year that were released in the year of our Lord 2022, can you tell me other albums that you feel were fully erect and engorged and of a enjoyable size?
As of wow, man, I'd have to go back and look through our catalog. What we did so far this year. We haven't had very many.
How much musical junk have you molested this year, sir?
Well, you know me and junk, buddy.
I like how you've just completely given up about trying to do a straight podcast, and you're like, yeah, Coop and Mark just wore me the fuck down. No, I'm going to keep doing sexual innuendos, too.
Yeah, all day long, buddy.
At least we haven't blown our load.
Come for the metal review, stay for the sexual innuendo, or leave running scared and frightened. And
One
sad.
way or another, someone's going to lose an eye.
Not in. Nobody is coming for this metal review. I'm sorry.
Look at you, little Jesse Starcher, with your sexual innuendos. You were an innocent little boy when I first met you. Look at you now.
That
Look
guy's
at me
making
now.
some impressive omissions, that's for sure.
Wonderful. All right, you can move to Coop now.
I'm just I didn't know what other.
I am done. I am done talking.
I am done talking now. Okay. If we ever do a con or something and I gotta sell merch, I'm definitely getting a shirt made up that says I'm done talking now.
Oh, please, yes, perfect.
Wear it proudly. Radulich and Broadcasting Network. I am done talking now. Robert Cooper of the Screaming Boy Podcast. What did you think of this album in total?
I really enjoyed it. I would honestly give this one a solid 5 out of 5, or 10 out of 10 is what that actually would convert to if I was using the scale I meant to last week that I gave the album a 2 out of 10, which I meant to give it a 2 out of 5. Big difference, very big difference. It's the difference between 80 and 20% when you're trying to roll and win Mario Party.
I appreciate a Mario. I appreciate a Mario Party joke. I do.
Yeah, Mario Party don't stop.
That's true. Yeah, my poor girlfriend had an 80% chance to win, and then the 20 hit instead, and that's unfortunate. But you know what? We're going to soldier on. We're going to get through it, and jet fuel will continue to not melt steel beams.
She's gonna lay back and think of England as she plays Mario Kart.
Oh yeah, all day, baby. But yeah, no, this is a really good album. It's very well crafted. It's there's a lot to dig into it. I feel like it's going to be, no matter how many times you revisit it, you're going to find something new that you like. And I just think this is a continued success with what Amorphis really can offer.
I want to say one last thing before we go into plugs. For those of you listening, maybe this is the first time you listen to this podcast, and you thought, this is weird, because I thought they were going to talk about a metal album, but they took a left turn about 30 to 40 minutes in, and it got really, really uncomfortable. Please note I don't just do this on this podcast. I'm just like this all the time. So
just know that this happens everywhere. So if you really were just sitting around going, golly gee willikers, I need to hear more of this man talking. There's a whole network. He named it after himself.
Yep, because I have that big of an ego. But not only just on podcasts, I do this shit at work too. It's amazing I haven't been drug into HR yet. I have absolutely said out loud, come down here and do things for me. Out loud to a female coworker. And they think it's hilarious. So, at least that's what I've been told by everyone except for the woke girl who no longer works with us, who didn't find me at all entertaining.
Well, you could say she definitely woke up and smelled the roses.
She woke up and ran out is what she did. But I just, Jesse's been with me for a very, very long time and knows that this is just my sense of humor. It is what
That's
it is.
right.
It is what it is. I do it mostly because I think it makes Jesse laugh as much as Jesse's like, I'm uncomfortable. I need an adult. I know you're laughing, Jesse. I know you're laughing.
You know it, bro.
And then there's Robert Cooper, who's right in there. It's just like, yeah, I came here for the metal reviews too, but I totally stayed for the sex jokes, right, Robert?
Oh yeah. If there's one thing I'll say, if you're going down, I'm going down with you.
And butt plugs. So no Metal Hammer of Doom that will be airing next week. However, behind the scenes, we will be gathering under the dark of night to do our St. Patrick's Day show, which will air the day before St. Patrick's Day. And you know what we're doing, Jesse? You know what we're doing. We're doing it all.
Oh, my goodness. Fine. Malt. Lyrics.
We're going back to the 90s, and we're going to jump around, Robert Cooper, don't you understand? Are you ready to jump around?
Oh yeah, I am going to be jumping around like my ADD.
You're going to jump up, and then get down?
Oh, you're darn tootin'.
Jesse, are you coming to put on your shit kickers and kick some shit?
Kick some shit, sir. Yes, indeed. Boom, shalak, boom. Come on now.
Yes, we will be gathering up a bouquet of shamrocks, and we will be having shenanigans. All of that to say, we'll be reviewing House of Pain, Fine Malt Lyrics, which will air the day before St. Patrick's Day, as I said. Before I leave to go on vacation for a week, Jesse's taking over the show, so I have to behave myself. Jesse's going to be doing a very, very serious show about a very, very serious band. They're not mathcore. Really. There's just a lot of math involved. After you get them jit'em, Jesse's going to wish damn them nam 'em on you as he
damn them nam 'em.
After you get after you've cured your apoptosis, then you're gonna go damn them with nice. Allegiant. Jesse, are you excited for this Allegiant album that actually comes out this Friday?
Yes. My gosh, am I excited. I am absolutely thrilled. Cannot wait to talk about it. Can't wait to see what themes they're going to be exploring in a lot of their songs. You know how these guys are. They will... they've sung about the laws of robotics. They've sung about exothermic... oh, my goodness. They basically a forest fire. Just some weird stuff that you just are... You have no idea what they're going to bring out to you. And what they're going to put on the table. So I'm excited, man. I've heard a couple singles off the new album. Both of them are really good. One of them really stood out, so I can't wait.
All right, I'm going to behave myself. I'm going to do at least...
I need that in writing and faxed, signed and delivered.
I will be
prior
doing
to the show start.
I will be doing at least 0.1001% less stupid jokes.
I like that.
That's math for you right there. That's decimals and shit.
That's math core.
And then when we come back, Robert Winfrey, who doesn't truck with my nonsense, will be joining us to talk about tanks. We'll also talk about Sabaton, the war to end all wars. How many tanks do you want in this video? Yes.
When we introduce Robert on the podcast, you call him... And he's Robert Winfrey. He's not that way. All right? That's how you have to introduce him.
Robert, not that way, Winfrey.
And then purr immediately after that, okay?
No, I still want him as a friend.
Just be the three of us.
Yeah, that might end a friendship. And I don't want that. So,
okay, that's fine.
He's just not that way, and that's okay.
He's not that way.
That's okay. He's not that way.
It's okay that he's not that way. That's right. And then on such dicks. On March 30th, the week leading into WrestleMania, we'll have a very special WrestleMania. Every once in a while, we do these special like holiday or in synchronicity with something that's coming out. Well, we got a whole bunch of content being laid out for WrestleMania week, like 2 weeks worth of content. So we're going to do a special Metal Hammer of Doom. And Jesse, we've done wrestling theme songs and we've done all kinds of things. You know what we're going to do this time?
Tell me.
Randy Savage, Be a Man.
Be a man, Hulk.
Yep,
Such a good album.
That's two rap albums on a metal on a metal podcast in the month of March. How about that?
You know what?
I don't
50% of those include a tribute to Mr. Perfect.
Hey, I got to apologize to
True.
Robert Cooper real quick. Not for anything I've actually said, because fuck that shit. But I couldn't get Necro Goblicon on the calendar. Sorry.
Oh, Necro Goblicon would have been great.
Yeah,
fucking hilarious.
It comes out April 1st, and we got Lordy Abusement Park. Then you and I are starting our journey into the great works of David Simon. And then we got Ghost and Para. Then we got the new Red Hot Chili Peppers album. And then we're into May, and we got Lordy again. Then we got Fozzy. And then we got another episode. We got another season of Homicide. The earliest I would be able to get it on the schedule is May 25th, and I have to imagine there'll be other albums we're going to want to review in that time. So I just left it off the schedule. But I did want to tell you that I was sorry, Coop.
It's okay. There'll be a new Megadeth this year.
Yep, and I will make that a priority.
Just say that I think it's the drummer of Necrogoblicon that has a chiptune thing called Rainbow Dragon Eyes. He did a soundtrack for a game called The Messenger, and it's unreal. So, Coop, get a chance, hop on to Spotify or YouTube,
Amazon
or whatever.
Music.
That would be a good one too. Rainbow Dragon Eyes, all one word.
Okay.
He wants you to get him jit with your dragon eyes.
Get him.
Damn.
Jesse, I've done all my plugs I'm going to do for the night. Go ahead and do your plugs, and then we'll go over to Coop, and we'll get out of here.
Okay, real quick. Unspoken Issues dropped today. I'm sure Mark was very pleased to see that kind of pop up out of nowhere.
Yup.
Where
after explicitly telling you, please send me art when you do things like that and give me advance warning. And Jesse said, "Fuck you and your mother." And I went, "Alrighty then."
Did you find the art yourself? Like, is that what you did?
I did. You used the. I just found the same issue cover that you used, and then I stretched it to make it fit the.
I noticed that
YouTube.
Yeah, the YouTube looked good, and I was sitting there thinking, "Oh shit." Well, anyway. It is Unspoken Issues. It's the 90s comic podcast that I'm involved in, associated with the Unspoken Decade. And we talked Web of Carnage. And I mentioned this, I think, last time. We finally got it to air today. It is Ben Reilly, Spider-Man, getting overtaken by the Carnage symbiote. And, hey, check it out. It was a lot of fun. We had a good time talking about it. And source material... I know we've got all sorts of things in the can. Just recently, what was the most recent source material that dropped there, Mark? Do you know off the top of your head?
Uncharted.
Uncharted, that's right. That just dropped this past, Monday? Sunday or Monday? But anyway, hey, Ronnie Adams and I talked about an Uncharted book. Came out from DC. And there was some really... If you enjoyed the game, you'd probably enjoy the comic book because it's just like an adventure that you would have played in the Uncharted game series. And, there's... we don't really have a whole lot to say other than some of the absurdity that kind of happens in it. It gets a little absurd sometimes. You wouldn't think it would be because it's an Uncharted... based off the Uncharted game. But they do get into the fantastical a little bit, but... Anyway, check that out. That's really all I have.
Robert Cooper, go ahead and take me home, baby doll.
Yeah, my friend Hannah claims that she's going to do that podcast. So at this point, she's probably not going to
before or after you get your friend Dave on the podcast.
My cat's named Dave. My friend's name is Nick, sir. This joke has been going for a very long time. How could you mess that up?
Go ahead, Steve.
Steve was my other cat.
Oh my God!
At my parents' house.
Fuck me running. I got 40 minutes to get this page up and prepare a new page for Jason Teasley. Please finish, as she's once told me.
Yeah. So anywho, Remind Me While I'm Sober is the name of that podcast. If it ever comes out again, I'm sure I will let everybody in the world know. Beyond that, that's all for me. My cat's name is Dave. I have socks made of him. They're very nice.
All right, folks, tune in 2 weeks for the next Metal Hammer of Doom. Once again will be a Legion. It'll be hosted by Jesse Starcher, and I promise to behave. Wink. Are you excited, Jesse?
Yeah. I mean, if you don't get the invite to the somehow and I pull the show off without you being on it, it's going to be crazy. Just don't be surprised.
I will not be the least bit surprised when you just steal the show from me. Going, that'll learn your Radulich. Keep your goddamn sex life to yourself, you dirty
Mark
pervert.
was supposed to be here tonight. I don't understand why he's not here.
Maybe we should probably send out we should probably make a call to make sure it's okay. Just call to his parents for them to check real quick.
You want to deal with my dad? Go ahead. And on that note,
no.
Yeah, if you think I'm bad, meet my 70-plus-year-old father. And on that note, be well, be safe, and behave.